Dr. Cornel West, co-host with Tavis Smiley, the Smiley and West radio show, the author of 13 books, including Democracy Matters. His website, afuturewithoutpoverty.com. By the way, for our D.C. area listeners, Vision for a New America, Future Without Poverty, featuring Newt Gingrich, Dr. Cornel West, and more. Thursday, January 17th. That's this Thursday at George Washington's Lisner Auditorium here in D.C. Admission is free, but you have to register in advance, and that's at that website I mentioned, afuturewithoutpoverty.com, and it's also going to be streamed live, and there's a Ustream link for that, and also on C-SPAN TV. We'll put that Ustream link over at thomhartmann.com so you can easily find it because it's fairly long. It's actually ustream.com/A Vision for a New America. Dr. West, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me. How you doing, my dear brother Tom?
I am doing very, very well, and I'm so pleased to have you on the program. Tell us about this tour that y'all are doing.
Well, as you know, we've had a number of legs, though, but it's just a matter of trying to keep alive the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and Michael Harrington, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, and say that we need to put poor people and trying to alleviate and eliminate poverty at the top of our list when it comes to priorities.
Yeah. Now, Lyndon Johnson reduced poverty in the United States by almost half over about a 6-year period with his war on poverty and the Great Society. And then Bill Clinton ended welfare as we know it. Now, it was during a boom, a bubble boom, good times. But that seems to be coming back to bite a whole lot of us in the butt. What do you have specific policy prescriptions, or are you just encouraging people to talk about the topic?
Well, one, we need a conversation. We've got a lot of creativity, imagination, intelligence in the nation. If we made it a priority, people would be able to come up with magnificent programs and strategies and tactics. But one thing we need to know, that we can't tax our way through it. It's got to be a matter of full employment, which is to say jobs with a living wage. We got to have quality education. We've got to have the right kind of motivation. People want to use their imaginations to be part of something bigger than them. So it's when we talk about poverty, we're not just talking about material poverty. We've had a poverty of imagination. We've had a poverty of courage. We've had a poverty of compassion. And it's a matter of accenting the kind of thing Brother Martin Luther King Jr. died for.
Do you agree with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, that when he proposed his second Bill of Rights, that a job should be a right, and that if capitalism fails, if the so-called free market fails to provide jobs for everybody, that it is not just the obligation or opportunity, it's the duty of government to provide those jobs through something like the WPA or the CCC?
No, I think the legacy of FDR, but we should also note that John Maynard Keynes, as you know, probably the most sophisticated liberal economist in the 20th century, used to say, the blind spots of capitalism are twofold: too much wealth inequality and not enough jobs with a living wage for full employment. But it's not just jobs for jobs' sake. It's jobs that have to do with building our bridges, our sewers, building infrastructures across the board, jobs for teaching corps, jobs that contribute to public interest and common good. So that in that sense, government does have a role, but private sector has a very important role to play too, though, bro.
Yeah, and what is that?
To be fair and not just be greedy.
But corporations kind of by definition are sociopaths. They are focused entirely on profits, and they only respond to laws in terms of any kind of moral compass. Don't we have to legislate that?
Well, you have to at least have regulation and legislation. You're absolutely right. But as you know, can't just be regulation on the books. It's got to be effective regulation on the ground, and that's what's so difficult.
Right.
We've got banks now are too big to regulate. It's impossible to regulate these big banks now. What is it now? They got $7 trillion. They've gained access to with relatively interest-free loans from the Federal Reserve. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
$7 trillion being used to build bridges, generating jobs, trying to eliminate this indecent housing, disgraceful school systems, and making sure that every American citizen can live a life of dignity.
What do you think about worker-owned cooperatives as an alternative to traditional capitalism?
I think it's a beautiful thing. I think that if you can make the shift from shareholder to stakeholder. Stakeholder is a member of the community. We have examples of this all around, not just the country, but also in going back to Spain.
Right.
It's still, in fact, the market operating, but it's just you got the stakeholders, the people who are gaining access to the profits, and it is fairly and widely shared. The prosperity is shared.
In 1982, Ronald Reagan rather famously stopped enforcing the Sherman Antitrust Act and its errors, which led to this explosion of mergers and acquisitions and this new job description, M&A artist, right? Mergers and acquisitions artists.
That's right.
Michael Milkins and all these guys, and it's still going on. I mean, all the fish are getting too big for the pond. Do you think that one of the better solutions to our problems might be to start enforcing the Sherman Act, and so that our malls and our downtowns are once again owned by local businesses instead of these giant national and international chains?
Well, I am very much for, as a deep Democrat, a decentralization. I'm not for bigness.
Yeah.
I'm for decentralization. We need to decentralize our banks and decentralize our corporate units so that people feel as if they have some kind of control over these institutions, not just government, but community as a whole. Now, you and I know that. I mean, one could say, well, these are pipe dreams. There's no way the oligarchs and plutocrats are going to be open to any kind of decentralization. You say, well, when they get in trouble, that's the moment when you say either you decentralize or you're going to have very stiff regulation. We had the chance, 2008. We blew it. Bush blew it. Obama blew it. And it's a sad affair.
Yeah, I mean, when the S&Ls blew up, Reagan deregulated them in '83, and in '86 they went down in flames. And what did he do? He federalized them. He fired all the senior management. He said to the stockholders, "Sorry, you guys, you're screwed." He prosecuted or investigated over 1,000 people, prosecuted 600 of them.
That's exactly right.
Do you think we should be preparing for the next bank crash, because they're behaving the same way they were before? This is going to come. With that in mind.
Yeah, it's I just read this powerful article by Brother Matt. You know Brother Matt Taibbi of Rolling Stone?
Oh, yeah.
A powerful piece in the recent issue.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the lies, the cheating, the stealing, and so forth. And it's coming. It's going to come back. And when it comes back, we've somehow got to impose some kind of democratic regulation, but it's an open question whether we'll have the will to do it. I'm
totally with you. Dr. Cornel West, and the website afuturewithoutpoverty.com. Check it out. Dr. West, thanks so much for being with us.
You stay strong, though, man.
I will do my best, and you too, sir.